So it's August already. I can't believe how fast this year has gone. It has flown by. It's the last month of meteorological summer. The end of the growing season is upon us. It won't be long before we're packing everything up ready for the winter. But it's not over yet. There's still time to get some more seeds sown. Yes, we're already harvesting lots of crops, but we can sow some more things now to get some quick crops before the end of the growing season. Some of these crops can actually be harvested through the winter as well, and some of them next spring as well. So we're thinking ahead in today's video. So perhaps you've just taken on a new allotment, or perhaps you've just not planted anything yet. Maybe you're just getting into growing your own produce, but you're not too sure where to start. Don't worry, because it's not too late to sow some things. You can still sow some things in August. So starting off our list is dwarf beans. Not climbing beans, dwarf beans, because these will give us a crop much earlier. In around 60 days we can be harvesting these dwarf beans. So if you sowed these in August, you can be harvesting some possibly around September or October. If you live in a mild climate like the UK, I live in the northwest of England in plant hardness zone 8B, you can be harvesting beans well into October and November with no problems at all, until the last frost really, because I found that they can hold on quite late into the season, the beans. And if you're growing them under cover, you can extend the harvest even more. So sowing some dwarf French beans under cover or outside, you can get away with a crop before the end of the growing season in a lot of areas. I've got some purple podded French beans here. I've already harvested quite a few of them outside. I'm still harvesting them, but I'm going to sow some of these in modules under cover, and then I'm going to plant them outside where I've recently harvested some onions. I've got some empty beds to fill. Tender green is another really nice variety of dwarf French bean as well, and also opera as well. That's a really nice one. But I've got lots of these purple podded French beans to grow. I've got royal burgundy and 9 French. So yeah, I've got loads of these purple podded French beans, and they are lovely, really tasty as well. Now another fast growing crop which you can sow in August is lettuce. I've got this lovely packet of mixed lettuce which I grow every single year. I've already sown about 3 different lots of lettuce, and in fact I've recently, literally just before, planted another lot outside which I sowed a few weeks ago. But you can sow some of these in August, and actually some varieties of lettuce can be overwintered as well and harvested through the winter and into spring. And you will get better results if you sow them under cover and keep them protected under cover during the winter as well. And I'm also talking about salad leaves like rocket, which are a very fast growing crop as well, which can also be harvested into the cooler months as well. Perpetual spinach as well, that's another one which can be harvested through the winter and into the spring. In fact, last year around August, September time, I sowed some perpetual spinach. I overwintered it, and I was actually harvesting spinach in spring of this year. The good thing about perpetual spinach is it's less likely to bolt prematurely, and it can give you a much longer harvest as opposed to just the standard traditional spinach. Another lettuce leaf which I really like as well is Lola Rossa. This is lovely, and I found that it's less likely to bolt as well. It can stand for much longer as opposed to some other varieties. Some other varieties I was growing bolted, but this Lola Rossa was the last variety that bolted, I found anyway. There are brassicas which you can be sowing in August as well to plant and overwinter and hopefully get some harvests next spring. I'll just name a few of them. There's quite a lot of them, and some of them I've planted as well. But it's things like kale. I've got black Tuscany kale here and red Russian kale. I've planted some of those outside. They're quite well established now though, but August you can still sow them. And it's other brassicas like your winter cabbages. I've got some Italian red Savoy cabbage which I've planted for Christmas. Your red drumhead cabbage for Christmas, which I've got some of as well. Purple sprouting broccoli as well, which is a good one for next spring. You'll sow them now, get them to a decent size, overwinter them, and then harvest those in the spring. Cauliflower all year round, that is a good one for sowing at different times of the year. You can grow them over winter and harvest those in the spring as well. So these brassicas to overwinter, sow them in August in module trays or sow them direct outside if you want, and then you should be able to get them to a decent size before the light levels drop and it gets cold, because you want them to be a decent size so they've got the energy to survive through the winter. If you were to sow your overwintering brassicas any later than August, September, October, you'll only have very small seedlings before things get cold, and they can be easily killed off by the frost if they're too small. If you've got a nice established cabbage plant that's a decent size, it's more likely to survive the winter and give you a crop in the spring. Now we've got some root vegetables which we can be sowing in August as well, and I'm going to start off with the carrots. The fast growing carrots like the early Nance and the varieties like the Chantenay carrots, or just any variety to be honest, you can harvest them as baby carrots if you want. You can sow some of those in August and harvest them through the winter, or even next spring actually. But I would highly recommend the variety early Nance because they are a lovely one and they grow very fast as well. You could sow some carrots in a bucket and grow them under cover if you want, so you can get some quicker growth and you can just come and harvest them as you need them through the winter. That's what I did last year, and I harvested some lovely carrots before Christmas. They were baby carrots though, but they were still lovely nonetheless. And I actually sowed them in August and I still managed to get some carrots for Christmas. Another good one for sowing in August is the spring onion. I've got some white Lisbon spring onions here, but I've also got these red spring onions as well. Now I actually sowed spring onions last August, and then I planted them in clumps in the polytunnel, and I was harvesting some lovely spring onions this spring, and I actually let some of them get a bit bigger, and I was harvesting some baby onions as well, which I've still got at home. I'm still eating them actually. So yeah, white Lisbon, which is a winter hardy variety, is a really good one for overwintering. I've had some good success with that. Super fast growing crop, radish. You can sow those in August and get a crop in September. They really are a fast growing crop. You could probably sow some of these in September as well, or even October, especially if you're growing them under cover. They're a really fast growing crop and quite cold hardy as well. Another one you can sow in August, something that we've been successfully sowing for quite a few months already. I've made like 3 or 4 sowings of these already. It's beetroot. I've got quite a few different varieties. I've got this golden beetroot here called Baldor. These are delicious, by the way. I've already harvested a few of these, and I've got some stripy beetroot as well. I've also got some of the Boltardy beetroot too, and I've been picking quite a lot of that already, and I've got loads more out there to pick yet. But they're quite a fast growing crop. You can sow them in August and harvest them in the autumn. You can also be sowing some swede and turnips as well in the month of August. I've got this variety called Tweed, and it's a very vigorous variety. But turnips as well, which is just basically a small version of a swede. I've got some lovely swedes outside which are ready to harvest, I think, some of them actually, but I'm just going to leave them a bit longer and harvest them when I need them. You can sow some swede in August and get some lovely harvests for Christmas. Now we're going to go over Christmas potatoes as well, because now is the time you can start thinking about Christmas potatoes and planting Christmas potatoes. Now I don't plant Christmas potatoes simply because I have a big problem with blight. I've tried Christmas potatoes in the past where I've planted them in August, and around October I've lost them to blight. That is the yield. I have nothing to say. We don't really get cold weather till November, December, so blight can hang around and linger till quite late on, especially under cover in a greenhouse or a polytunnel. So for that reason, I don't grow Christmas potatoes. But if you don't have a problem with blight, or you can get hold of a blight resistant variety, then go ahead and plant some Christmas potatoes in August. Now you could also be sowing some herbs as well, but particularly the annual herbs like parsley, coriander, basil, things like that, but also your perennial herbs as well, like chives. I've got some parsley here and basil here as well. You can sow those in August, and then when things start to get cold, you can pop them up and take them home and grow them on your windowsill, so long as it's a south-facing windowsill that gets plenty of light. A kitchen windowsill, so long as it gets plenty of light, that is ideal. Parsley can give you a crop over quite a long period of time. I sowed some parsley last August, and I put it in my herb planter at home, and they're now flowering. A year later, I managed to harvest them for quite a few months through the winter. Parsley are quite cold hardy plants. I didn't realise just how cold hardy they are. So if you were thinking about sowing some seeds in August and you weren't too sure where to start, then I hope this video managed to provide you with some good ideas and inspiration, and I hope I managed to help you guys out. I'm going to be sowing a few of these in August to keep the harvest going well into the autumn and winter months. Remember, if you found this video useful, hit the like button, and if you've got any feedback or any questions, drop them down in the comments below. And if you'd like to see more videos like this when I release them in the future, do remember to hit that subscribe button as well, and you'll be notified whenever I upload any videos in the future. And remember, the likes and the comments really do help out a lot. I read every single comment, and the likes send positive signals to YouTube, and it lets YouTube know that you like my content, so it knows to recommend it to more like-minded gardeners. So that's all for now, guys. I will see you in the next one. Happy gardening and stay safe.